and welcome back to Lesson 3. In this video, we'll talk about what constitutes good writing. The short answer? It's complicated. The authors of one of our textbooks point to 3 conceptions of good writing. One approach, they say, holds that there are universal good writing standards that apply to all writing everywhere. Another approach goes in the opposite direction, claiming that it depends upon who is reading the writing, a kind of in the eye of the beholder thing. In this view, qualities of good writing are entirely subjective. There are no universal rules. The middle approach has a less extreme version of it depends. In this view, what constitutes good writing varies from one context, genre, or discourse community to the next. So there are rules, but they are set by each group. Of these 3, this last one comes closest to our QEP philosophy. Good writing does depend to a great extent upon context. We'll talk about what that means in a few minutes. However, we also acknowledge certain very common, if not universal, features of good writing. Broadly put, one feature is that good writing has a voice to it. When we read it, we hear an author guiding us through the piece, talking to us, even when the writer is writing in third person. This voice can be authoritative and composed, but it is also not too detached or excessively formal. The voice works to help us understand the subject matter, not point out to us how much we don't know. A second feature of good writing is that it flows. It has a clear departure point, it goes in a clear direction, and it goes toward a clear destination. In other words, it's well organized. In our Writing Matters rubric, we take these broad features and make them a bit more specific. We say good writing at Alcorn incorporates good organization and thorough development, clear claims, persuasive evidence, an awareness of genre, audience, and discipline, and the conventions of standard American English. This fourth one in particular is the it depends part. All of the other factors, organization, claims, and evidence, depend upon 2 important questions. What is your purpose in writing, and who is your audience? It's easier to understand this if we look at situations in which purpose and audience are not considered. Suppose a history student is taking an essay exam, and the question is this: name and discuss 4 social, economic, political developments that brought about the rise of Jacksonian democracy. For each, describe the development in detail and be very specific about its contribution. The student's audience in this case, his professor. His purpose, to persuade his professor that he has mastered specific course content, in this case the developments that led to Jacksonian democracy. If the student writes a beautifully organized, grammatically correct essay about the political and socio-economic developments that led to the Civil War, for example, or the Vietnam War, he has not fulfilled his purpose, and he has probably severely underestimated his audience if he thinks his history professor won't realize that he's answered the wrong question. So no matter how well written the essay may be, the student has failed. One more example. Suppose my school board is considering a cost-saving measure of cutting back on the number of school buses by making the high school start time even earlier than it currently is, and the elementary school start time later than the current time. I want to persuade them that this is a mistake. I know it's a mistake because, first of all, I have trouble getting my teenager out of the door every morning, and second, because I've read the latest science that says adolescents' circadian rhythms make morning their least productive time. If I write a chatty letter that gives all the gory details of how hard it is to wake up my teenager every morning, I'm not likely to change the school board's decision. I'm much more likely to succeed with the school board if I write a business-like letter that summarizes the most current science on adolescents' circadian rhythms. There's nothing inherently wrong with the chatty letter, but it would fit a different purpose, say to entertain rather than to persuade, and a different audience, say my family and friends rather than the school board. So, the two most important it depends factors that tell us whether a piece of writing is good writing: audience and purpose. Now, I'd like you to go to the course site's webpage and post a journal entry for Lesson 3. First, think of the last two pieces of writing you've done. For each one, describe the writing and identify why you wrote and who your audience was. Then reflect on how these factors, purpose and audience, shaped that particular piece of writing. I've included an example of a journal entry in the instructions. Okay, that's it for Lesson 3 video. See you next time.